the Texas attitude that we've heard about from afar, right? And A&M's
Sure.
like screaming in the background somewhere, like, we're trying to warn you, you don't want to deal with these people. But that's kind of what we're like. We know it's there, but they still got to prove their worth here.
Right.
I think they're going to come in a little more like that. I'm with you. I think Oklahoma can be viewed more as an equal at this moment, and Texas's view of Auburn might be lesser, and Auburn might be saying, hey, you hadn't earned anything here yet.
One of the things that has been a major topic throughout of college football is expansion and how that's going to affect everything. And there are certain conferences doing it right. There are certain conferences doing it clearly wrong. I would say the SEC is one of those that if you have to expand and if you are going to add people to your conglomeration of units of teams, they've done it well. And what we're talking about is the addition of Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. Now, we have discussed this a lot here on the Auburn Experience, but I wanted us to spend this segment today. It's an official, as of this past week, Austin, of them being in the SEC. I think July 1st, it was the big push. You saw the logo. You're one of those. Are you really one of this? We're going to have a controversy tonight. Oh my God. Have you heard me go on this rant before?
I don't think so. I honestly have no idea what you're about to say. I just thought it'd be funny to do that.
Okay. What we want to talk about is the dynamics of having Oklahoma and Texas, not just in football. That's going to be a big part of the discussion, but just having them in the SEC and how the connections between Auburn, Oklahoma, Auburn, Texas, across many things here. So it's really just an open discussion about this more than an agenda driven things. I'm going to just say this at the start. I think the horns down thing is the stupidest thing that has ever happened. I think it's stupid that horns down is offensive to Texas people.
100%.
I think it's stupid that people try to offend them with the horns down thing. This 100%. feels like schoolyard nana boo boo stuff. I mean, if we're going to talk trash, let's talk trash. I mean, what is this?
I think it's hilarious.
Are we getting fined for doing this now? Like,
I think it's so funny.
I don't know.
I definitely, I do not care. Like,
I know you don't.
I will probably be, there will be times where I probably do it for funny, like this moment for fun. There will probably be times where I'm like, what are we doing? I think my funniest part about the horns down before we move into the bigger discussion we wanted to have and plan for, is that, like you said, that the fact that it actually offends Texas cracks me up. And my hope is that moving into the SEC, because they were coddled a little bit in Big 12, that would, sometimes you got a penalty for horns down. That will not happen here. You have moved up on a playground, and that will not happen. So I think for that sake, I think they're going to see it a lot in the beginning, but if they continue to prove themselves and pull their weight, I think you might see less of it. There's kind of that equal footing.
It just
it cracks me up.
It irks me. I'm just gonna be honest. That's my crotchety old man bit for the week. I think it's so stupid, and I'm asking.
That ensures that I will probably do it more often.
I know, and that's why I'm bringing this up here so we can have moments like this again. I'm just asking, can we be more original, and can we have something a little bit more hardcore? Like Tennessee fans, you got something great. You can say we're the real UT. Like at least that's kind of catchy, that's clever and stuff. But horns down, oh my gosh! Like let's stop it. All right, I didn't know that we were going to start our discussion with that. Oklahoma, Texas, welcome to the SEC. Welcome to your now what will be more future connections with Auburn. Let's talk about football. We obviously know that we have played both of these teams previously. It's not gone well. I believe the last time that Auburn and Texas played was the 1983 season, and I believe we lost, if I'm not mistaken. Oklahoma, the last time we played them in football, was in the Sugar Bowl. I was there. You can blame me for the loss. We got our butts kind of handed to us in the Sugar Bowl.
I was there as well. No one will be surprised by that. Yeah, no one should be surprised by that.
Cue the jokes right now.
Come on.
Maybe it was me too. I will say that every bowl game I've attended, we've lost.
I have seen 2 wins.
Well,
Birmingham and Purdue.
maybe it's me then. So, yeah, not at least most recent success with these guys, not a lot of it. So you got to think, if you are a Texas and Oklahoma team coming into the SEC for Oklahoma this year, seeing Auburn injured here, you got to feel good about historically what your chances
That's
may
right.
be. But Oklahoma has never played at Auburn and has never experienced Jordan Hare in the September anytime but September afternoon. So
Afternoon, not evening, in case you hadn't heard that rant.
Yeah,
I won't do it again.
missed out. But you have to understand when Georgia.
I do
now,
understand. I do
know.
understand.
It's our own fault for not being more relevant than they are to the equation at this moment.
Well, I hope they're both 0-4 and we're all watching it on prime time.
What do you think would happen if
We haven't discussed the fact that I have a wedding that day, but we'll get there. We can't discuss that right now.
I don't know what to do with that information, Austin. I don't know what to do with that. So,
I might get myself in trouble if we keep talking.
Okay. Let me move on for you. So, Oklahoma and Auburn will get to renew that this year. I gotta say, what do you feel about how well Auburn and Oklahoma, Auburn, Texas fit with each other? What do you think the dynamic's going to be?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, is there going to be animosity? Is there going to be excitement? What do you think?
I think there will be more. I don't know if animosity is the right word. I think there will be more of a familiarity in terms of we've seen it more recently with Oklahoma and Auburn. There's softball, obviously the World Series from 8 years ago.
I forgot about that one.
There's the Sugar Bowl you just brought up.
We did beat them in basket.
There's a recent basketball,
which we whooped some tail in that one.
Was it a SEC Big 12?
It was I think it was the last SEC Big 12 matchup, actually.
What?
Really? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the last one we ever played in the SEC Big 12. Because remember, the ACC SEC Challenge started this year.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, there's another. We've played them twice because there was one several years ago with Buddy Hield. But you're right. It was 2 years ago. We also played, a year and a half ago. We also played them. So I think that's been a regular thing more often. Maybe a gymnastics meet in there somewhere too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That sounds familiar. So with Texas, it's kind of more where it's like we haven't really messed around with each other. We've pulled for them several times here over the last few years, and they let us down once. That
was a big one.
That was a big one. They helped us out this past year. But yeah, I think it'll be a learning curve with everybody of getting used to these fan bases. My biggest hope, and I'm talking to myself, I hope that the Auburn people will, and I know they will travel to these places and get used to their campuses, their people, and their traditions. Because I mean, if you don't do that, then I have a hard time with you even trying to do something like Horns Down, right? Like you gotta, if you can't go out there and try and figure out their way of life, then it makes trash talking harder.
I'm glad you brought up a lot of the other sports connections, especially with Oklahoma as of late. It seems like our paths have crossed more than Texas and Auburn. I got to think there is some animosity that has built up over time because of some of those things. You're coming in with a 4-peat Oklahoma softball team. National champions this next season, their first season in the SEC. So there's no reason to think that they won't be at least somewhat successful. I got to wonder, because I like to think of this, how well does Auburn and Oklahoma not resemble each other, but how well do they fit in like mentality? And like Auburn's got this overarching blue collar mentality.
Right.
I think there's some of that with Oklahoma, but because of other recent successes they've had, they've almost, I don't want to call it an upgrade, but they have taken a step to a different viewpoint. Texas feels a lot like Alabama as like what they perceive themselves as royalty of college football. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, Austin. I feel like Texas in relation to Auburn will be perceived more like an Alabama type of foe, and Oklahoma, if you can remove some of that recent animosity that has been developed there, will be more like a Texas A&M, where it gets pretty rowdy. We've had some pretty good knockarounds with each other. but I think there's some similarities
You
there.
see some equal footing.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that the Texas attitude that we've heard about from afar, right? And A&M's
Sure.
like screaming in the background somewhere, like, we're trying to warn you, you don't want to deal with these people. But that's kind of what we're like. We know it's there, but they still got to prove their worth here.
Right.
I think they're going to come in a little more like that. I'm with you. I think Oklahoma can be viewed more as an equal at
Sure.
this moment, and Texas's view of Auburn might be lesser, and Auburn might be saying, "Hey, you hadn't earned anything here yet."
Yeah. I think a lot of people would agree with some portions of that analogy. Again, it's going to be hard to separate some of the animosity that's been there with Oklahoma because of
Agreed.
bowl games and things like that. Uh, I think Auburn's going to be in well positioned to beat Oklahoma and considered in a close proximity to beat Oklahoma in Jordan Hare this year. It's going to be the biggest one of the season in the home stretch.
Right.
You got to go to Oklahoma the next year. Like you said, I hope we travel well. I would go if I wasn't already planning to go to the Baylor game, and I can only really probably afford one travel.
Same.
So I will plan. I'm planning. I've already had discussions about going to Baylor. So I hate that I'm not going to be able to make that.
I think you and I have been planning that with our respective people for quite some time.
Yes, as long as I still have connections there when that time arrives. But it's just next season.
Yeah,
Texas, I don't know that I have I have more excitement about going to see Oklahoma than I do Texas. And I think this goes
do you really? I think I'm the opposite.
I don't know. To me, I think it's what I was getting at, that maybe similar level or behaviors or personality of the programs, the all-encompassing feeling of Oklahoma matches us more. I think that's what I'm getting back to on this.
From a bird's eye view and from someone who's never been to either one, it does seem like Norman's probably more of a college town, right?
Yeah.
Than Austin being.
Well, have you heard some other stories about UT Austin and how, I don't want to get into politics and stuff here, but they resemble a very college town, if you get
sure. But it's a bigger city in terms of it being that close to.
That's what you mean, small town.
Yeah, I mean more just like geopolitical, whatever you want to call it. So I could see that. I think I'm in more. Whenever that date comes, I'm more excited to visit Austin, mainly because just of it's Texas. Like it, it's. I know they both have history, but it's Texas, and it's just a little bit different. I'll be honest. If I'm a sucker for that burnt orange. That
we have the real burnt orange though.
I understand, but that burnt orange, and probably some of that is because Oklahoma is any shade of red, and I don't want any part of that.
I know that's my hang up with Oklahoma is the red. Yeah. Anytime I see red, I literally see red. I've got it. Bringing it all back. This whole UT or horns down debate.
Oh boy, we're back here.
Back there. Our burnt orange is better, or our orange is more burnt than yours. Like, so we can do something with that. I know I'm not saying what I just said is good. I'm just saying
we're gonna have to workshop that. Yep, we're gonna have to workshop that.
We can pull something off better than horns down. Let's do better. Let's be better. That's all I'm saying.
We'll work on that. There's a lot of orange. Well, actually, I guess it's just us in Tennessee now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and their orange is not even close. But they got their whole UT thing. They're the real UT.
They can do that. Okay, real quick, rapid fire. Who does Auburn beat first? Oklahoma or Texas in these? I'm gonna give you just a few sports.
Oh, rapid fire!
Rapid fire.
I like this.
As SEC members, starting now this season, who do they beat first? Baseball.
Oh man, Oklahoma.
Gymnastics, because I think they both have gymnastics teams. I think.
If Texas has a gymnastics team, Texas.
Let's see how well you know your sports. Track and field.
Oklahoma. I know nothing.
Probably Oklahoma. If they have one, Texas.
I feel like Texas is really good. That was my gut.
Yeah. Swimming and diving.
Oh gosh, Texas.
Texas has actually got really good swimming and diving team.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And the big one. Well, let's do one more. Women's basketball.
Oklahoma. I like. Yeah, Texas is good, but that's a little bit of a like Johnny Harris came from Texas, right? She was there for a year. with Vic Schaefer. I think she followed him to Texas for
You may be
1
right.
year.
You may be right. Final question. Who does Auburn beat first in football?
Oklahoma.
Not even hesitation.
No.
So it's happening this year is what you're saying.
Well, it could be next year because we play him next year. But
Okay.
yes, it's happening this year.
So recency bias. Like he's hedging his bets because we get 2 shots at them.
Yeah.
To start off the year.
It's happening this year.
Unless we're both in the SEC championship, Auburn and Texas.
Well, then we wouldn't have beaten Oklahoma. Probably.
Anyway, more discussions to be had with Auburn, Texas, and Oklahoma. I'm excited. Seems like Austin is as well to have them as part of the conference. You should be too. This is a good thing, I think, and it's a new day.